Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Do you have any old wigs that look like this, ready to go in the bin? Well, today I'm going to show you how to get them back to this. So if you want to save yourself some money and keep your wigs going for longer, just keep watching. Okay, so you want to start by washing your wig. Now I do this with some water in a bowl and I put as much shampoo in as I feel I need, and I just kind of swish it around, and sometimes we'll squish certain parts of the wig together, rub them together just to make sure it's definitely clean and had plenty of contact with the shampoo. This is what I use because it's the best shampoo I have, but basically you need something that's ideally a thick or repair shampoo. Unfortunately, this is the closest thing I have to a before shot. As you can see, this wig really isn't doing so good right now. So now to make sure that I've properly rinsed all of that shampoo out, I move from the bowl to the sink so that I can get to the tap, keep running clean water and keep squeezing it out. And basically that's all I'm doing. I'm starting from the top, soaking the top of the wig and then squeezing it all the way down to the bottom, and I just keep doing this until I stop seeing bubbles come out, or I can tell that there's no more shampoo coming out in one way or another. Just make sure you repeat this process over and over until you make sure that the wig is definitely clean and it doesn't have much, but ideally any shampoo left in it. Okay, next we're on to conditioner. This is my personal favourite conditioner. It's quite cheap, especially for the size of the bottle, and I think I get it off somewhere called Nitino. It's just the best conditioner I've ever used. Everyone I recommend it to loves it, but basically for something heavy duty like this, you just want a repair conditioner or a conditioning mask or something very thick. And now you're going to turn your wig back round the correct way. Okay, so now that you're done with the shampoo, the next step is to do conditioner. The way that I would do this is to lay it out either flat on a towel or like I am in a bowl, so across the edge of the bowl with just the damp ends in the bowl, because you will lose a lot of water while doing this. So it depends what environment you're doing it in and how you're going to control the water everywhere. But basically I'd just squeeze the conditioner into my hands and then run it through the wig, and just keep doing this until you've got the amount of conditioner that you feel happy with. Following this, I'd leave it a little bit of time for this to soak into the wig. You don't want to start the next step while the wig is absolutely soaked, but you also don't need to wait for it to be completely dry. If it's just in kind of a damp state, that would be perfect for the next step, because you don't really want to brush soaking wet hair. Okay, at this point I would definitely recommend moving your wig onto a towel, as I've just done, laying it out flat, and you want to get your wide tooth comb and start slowly and carefully working on brushing it out. I would definitely recommend starting from the bottom. You usually want to tackle about 3 to 4 inches at a time and just go very gently. Whenever you hit a knot, don't tend to pull against it like you would with your own hair. Just gently kind of tug and try not to apply too much pressure. Allow the hair to kind of gradually work its way through instead of just like pulling at it. If you do have a bit you definitely can't get the comb in, then you can usually use your fingers and start kind of gradually pulling the knot apart. I would recommend doing, as I said, 3 to 4 inches at a time, and then just gradually moving your way back up and brushing the knots down to the bottom and out of the wig. You will lose some hair, and sometimes there will be clumps that come out in one big knot. But that's okay, that just happens sometimes. The aim here is to get it into the best condition you can. If you can't get all the knots out or all the damage out, that's absolutely fine too. At this point it's just getting the worst of it out. Once you've finished that section on one side of the wig, turn it over, lay it flat again and do that same amount on the other side. Generally your comb should be able to go all the way through, but I find it's a gentler approach if you do it one side at a time, and you don't have to pull so hard or push the comb all the way in. You can also turn it so that the front of the wig is facing the towel and do the back, but it kind of depends how thick your wig is, how long it is, and by your own judgment looking at it, does it look like there's another section you haven't reached properly. Keep turning it over and doing the sections until you get right up to the top. Oh my god. Look at this. Just as I thought it was going well. Oh lordy. That's where I should have concentrated 90% of the conditioner. It's okay, it's okay. The fabric softener will save you, I hope. Let me see already. That's starting to look a lot more like a regular wig. It's supposed to look, you know. It's still got a bit frizz, but that's already given it one heck of an improvement. But we're still going to deep condition, or rather fabric soften the shit out of this, because there is a hella clump at the back I still can't get out right now. Okay, as you can see, once I get to the top, I actually lift it up on my hand and I start working those knots all the way from the top right the way down, one section at a time. I find this works better because you lose less hair. If you can just move that knot all the way down, once you get to the bottom and you brush it, it'll just kind of come out of the bottom and you won't have that knot in there anymore. And that's hard to do that when it's laying flat. Also, this gives you a chance to make sure you haven't missed anything else along the length. So we just need to soften the whole thing off so it loses that frizz that it's got currently. Because no matter how much you brush this now, where it's so damaged, it will frizz up. And then once you've finished brushing this all out, you're going to rinse it again. And once you've finished rinsing your wig, you want to really squeeze it out and make sure you've got out as much water as you can. It doesn't have to be totally dry, but if you leave too much water in, it will affect the mixture that you've made. Okay, once you've rinsed and squeezed your wig, it's time to go onto the fabric softener. You can really use any fabric softener for this, but the portion that you want to use is 1 whole cup of fabric softener, you know, a little lid cup measurement, to 3 lids of water, and just keep filling that until you have enough solution to fully submerge the wig in it. Once you're happy with the amount of solution you've got, it should look roughly something like this, and just grab whatever you have to mix that up until you can see that the fabric softener and the water have properly mixed together. Okay, now it's time to submerge your wig in your fabric softener mix. I would recommend turning your wig inside out, the wig cap for this, just to protect the very top parting part of the wig, and then just bundle it up and flop it in there. I would highly recommend wearing gloves for this, like rubber gloves. I clearly forgot, but you do need to bear in mind that fabric softener is an irritant for a lot of people's skins, annoyingly including mine, so I probably had very frustrated hands after this. And then I just kind of swish it around and make sure it's in there properly. And then we leave it to soak. At the very least you need to leave it for a day, but if it's very damaged like this one, I would recommend up to 5 days. I don't know if it makes any difference, but I do tend to come and pop back and stir it a little bit, at least kind of once a day. Okay, it is time to take your wig out of the bowl. Now, as you can see, this time I remembered to wear rubber gloves. Please do remember to do this, or, you know, non-latex ones if, like me, you're also sensitive to latex as well as fabric softener, because yay. Basically, put on your gloves, get your wig out, and you want to squeeze as much of this stuff out as you possibly can, because your wig is already going to stink. And admittedly, there are worse things in life to smell of than fabric softener, but the more you can get out of this, the better, not just for the smell, but for your skin, for your clothes, for everything it comes into contact with. It's not great for it to have too much fabric softener left over in it. And then once you've done that, as you can see, I've got a towel, because you really want to control where all of this is dripping and getting. And I'm just putting it on one of these very open wig heads. I suppose you could use a polystyrene wig head, but it would probably do a fair bit more damage, and I find that it dries a lot better on one of these types because it gets more air. If it's a long wig like this one, you just kind of want to spread it out like I am and make sure it's kind of not all clumped together. A, to stop it drying horribly, and B, to help it dry a little bit faster. So just kind of spread it out and make sure it's not getting retangled, and leave it to dry. If you are in a rush at this point, you could use a hairdryer on it, and I think I did eventually because I got fed up of waiting for it to air dry. But I would do this on a very, very low heat. Don't get it too close to the hair, and definitely don't get it anywhere near kind of the parting or the wig cap part of it, and just dry it very gently. when it is finally dry, which is probably the night before con if you're anything like me, you can finally get around to giving this a proper brush. At this point, most of the knots will have taken themselves out from how much it's been softened, and you can now use a wig brush. Now what I would classify as a wig brush is similar to what you can see I'm using now. It's just got a squishy bottom underneath the kind of spike bits. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but basically you don't want a completely plastic brush, you want one with those squishy centers underneath the spikes so that it's got that little bit more give. If you have just a plain plastic bottomed brush, it's going to pull far too much on the wigs and it will pull the hair out. So you want something that's got a little bit more give to it. Obviously it's going to keep falling over because that's just how wigs work. And now you just want to gently brush it out and just admire your work. And there you have it, just like new. You can now style this and wear it however you want and enjoy having saved some money. If you've enjoyed this video, leave us a like or comment and share it with your friends. I hope this has been helpful. If you have suggestions for any other tutorials you'd like to see me do, drop me a comment here or on any of my social medias. I'm at PuddyGeeks on pretty much anything. See you next time!